and call it out next time. It's not that difficult. It's called ethics over views. We're 5 days away from the end of Donald Trump's presidency. And I can see it over the horizon. It's arising. It's just another day in the neighborhood, Johnson. See, I'm not one of those people that believe that all problems are not going to go away. That would be stupid to think that. It'll be a ceremony, and then Thursday you'll wake up and there'll still be COVID-19 shutdowns, lockdowns. There'll still be high unemployment. LeBron James will still be going against teams that have 3 or 4 stars on it, trying to dethrone him. And there'll still be, horrible shows on TV that you don't want to watch. And there'll still be corporate shillers corporate spokesmodels pretending to be journalists on paid networks, telling you whatever they tell you. So a lot won't change. Donald Trump finally came out, he made a speech. It's been a while since we heard from him. Since last week when he didn't call off his troops. Here goes Donald Trump talking about the events that happened last week with the Capitol siege.
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the troubling events of the past week. As I have said, the incursion of the U.S. Capitol struck at the very heart of our republic. It angered and appalled millions of Americans across the political spectrum. I want to be very clear. I unequivocally condemn the violence that we saw last week. Violence and vandalism have absolutely no place in our country and no place in our movement. Making America great again has always been about defending the rule of law, supporting the men and women of law enforcement, and upholding our nation's most sacred traditions and values. Mob violence goes against everything I believe in and everything our movement stands for. No true supporter of mine could ever endorse political violence. No true supporter of mine could ever disrespect law enforcement or our great American flag. No true supporter of mine could ever threaten or harass their fellow Americans. If you do any of these things, you are not supporting our movement, you are attacking it, and you are attacking our country. We cannot tolerate it. Tragically, over the course of my fellow Americans, law enforcement, and upholding our nation's most sacred traditions and values. Mob violence goes against everything I believe in and everything our movement stands for. No true supporter of mine could ever endorse political violence. No true supporter of mine could ever disrespect law enforcement or our great American flag. No true supporter of mine could ever threaten or harass their fellow Americans. If you do any of these things, you are not supporting our movement, you are attacking it.
Trump is angered and appalled at what took place at the Capitol. Angered and appalled at what took place at the Capitol. All right, guys, this is it, okay? Donald Trump, at any point in time, if you were so angered and appalled about what was going on at the Capitol, you could have gave this speech at any time. See, what happened at the Capitol was not something that happens in 2 seconds. It went on for hours, Johnson. And Trump was there. At any time, Trump could have went live. He could have went live, I tell you. He could have went live while the people were in the Capitol, while the Capitol Police while 300 Capitol Police were trying to hold off 15,000 Trump Trump rally attenders. Probably 5,000 of those or whatever try to get in. I don't know how many people try to get in. I really don't know the exact number. This is a number that's been quoted in interviews by Capitol Police. At any time, Trump could have held a live stream. He's the president of the United States. He could have held a live stream. He could have said these words. Hey, cut it out. Cut it out, Johnson. Go home. This is not what I want you to do. If you're a Trump supporter, don't do this. This does not look good for us. This is not how we want to conduct ourselves. Let's be patriots. No. And you know what would have happened? Brother Numsky and the other degenerates or whatever they are, the guy with the horns on his head, the guy with the Nazi swastika crap, the guy with the Confederate flags, all these guys, they would have looked at their phones. They'd have been like, wow, Donald Trump's on the phone doing a live stream. I'm not shitting you. He's on the phone doing a live stream. Check it out. And then they would have heard the guy whose opinion they value more than anyone else's opinion. And they would have said, Donald Trump just told us to go home. He said go home. He said stop what you're doing. And know what would have happened if he did that? At least 50% of his people would have left. Now, let's keep it real. Some of those Trump supporters, almost half of them, would have been like, hey, obviously, he wants us to stay, but he just said go home. Well, that's because the corporate Democrats, the evil communists, had forced him to say that. That's not what he wants us to do. Well, he just said do it. He said go home. No. That's what they want you to think he wants us to do. But actually, what he wants us to do is to keep doing it. So I'm not saying him calling off the troops would have stopped everything. These people believe everything's a conspiracy. Uh-oh. I have to go to the bathroom. It must be a conspiracy against my bladder. These communists, Antifa, just made me have to go, made me feel like I have to go, but I don't really have to go. Someone left the door open in my garage. It must be Antifa. It's a conspiracy to make me think I need to close my garage when I really don't. They just took Dawson's Creek off. They just took the cow. What's the guys with they took the hillbilly guys off. I forget the hillbilly guys off. The guys that believe in Jesus. Phil Robertson, the Duck Dynasty. That's it. They took off Duck Dynasty. It's a conspiracy. The Antifa did it. BLM and Antifa did it. Somebody get me Tommy Loren on the speed dial and Candace Owens and Sheriff Clark. So what I'm saying, guys, is yes. Donald Trump, at any time, if you really were appalled and angered, you were angry about these people that you had been telling for months to fight back, and there's a big surprise coming in. All this shit. You mean you were angered by them acting? Why didn't you do something, Johnson? Because, look, the simple answer is always in most cases, the very simple explanation is the best explanation, most accurate one. He didn't want them to stop, Johnson. He felt good reveling in the fact that he can control hearts and minds, that he has their souls. He's Jedi mind tricked these people. But they bought into it, they believed it, and they did it. He said he unequivocally condemns violence, political violence, unequivocally condemned violence. Wow, unequivocally. Like there's no way at all that he would ever condone violence in any way, shape, or form. Sounds a lot different than the same guy who stood on stage and told police officers it was okay to bang the shit out of suspects' heads as they put them in patrol cars. Sounds a little different. Sounds a little different than the guy who was at rallies telling people it was okay to punch people, that he would pay legal fees if they got arrested. Sounds a little different. Doesn't sound like a guy that condemns violence, who unequivocally condemns violence. Nah, it sounds like a guy who's okay with violence, as long as he don't have to do nothing. As long as he gets to sit back and watch you do it, watch you jeopardize your freedom. Why'd you take the risk? He said, make America great again. It's always been about law and order. It's always been about the troops. It's always been about loving the country. See, make America great again. When people ask, what does make America great again? He never had an answer. Now he does. And all of a sudden, make America great again has something to do with law enforcement and keeping the peace. I thought it was about trade and bringing back jobs, Johnson. But you don't mention that here. You said make America great again was always about the flag, nationalism, and law and order. I thought it was about focusing resources on American domestic issues and putting money, putting people back to work here nationally, domestically. Wow, looks like someone's changing their tune, Johnson, because somebody may be held accountable for some of the stuff they've done. Now, this right here is the funniest part of it. It was so funny I had to rewind it. He said, you're not his supporter. You're not a supporter of mine. You're not a supporter of mine if you could endanger or endorse political violence. You're not a supporter of his if you threaten or harass fellow Americans. You're not a supporter, not a true supporter of mine, not a true supporter of his if you endorse political violence, if you threaten or harass fellow Americans, or if you disrespect law enforcement or the flag. Wow. I'm stupefied at this, man. This is crazy. Donald Trump, if you would have came out, I don't know, a year ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, and said any of this to your people at all, you may have won the election. Yeah, if you would have came out at any point in time and been this Donald Trump that would say, hey, you're not a true supporter of mine if you're a jackass, if you're a racist, if you're a bigot, if you beat up people, if you're a Karen, I don't know, any of this would have worked really well. But it doesn't work as well after the fact. After the people that you led break into the Capitol. And I don't hear they opened the door. Yeah, some did. Not everybody opened the door. There were a lot of people there. A lot more people got in than people that they opened the door for, or whatever you call it. You can't accept that some people just broke in. That doesn't ring true at all. Some people got in because they wanted to, not because somebody snuck them in. No, I guess not. Because it goes right back into the thing where they just dumb puppets. They don't know what they were doing. They had no idea that the place was closed. It's sort of why they had a gate around it. Donald Trump, too little, too late. Too little, too late. It's like when I got when my truck got repossessed back in, 2005. My money wasn't right. I couldn't pay the bill. And they came to take my truck, man. Man, I'm telling you, I ran outside. I saw that tow truck. I ran outside. I didn't even have shoes on, Johnson, and it was like February. It was like 2 a.m. I knew I should have parked up the street. Hey, groceries, I had to park close. I run outside to the tow truck. The guy's he's loading my truck. You know that. I said, brother, let me talk to you, brother. Let me talk to you, brother. Let me talk to you. Brother, let me talk to you. Brother, let me talk to you. Let me talk to you, man. Let's have a conversation. Whoa, slow down, man. They pay you by the truck or they pay you by the hour. Calm down, slow down, brother. Slow down. Listen, man. That's how Trump sounds. He sounds like somebody trying to talk his truck off the damn tow truck. That's what I said. I said, I know this fake. I did the same thing. Listen, man. Let me explain. Man, I had sent the payment. I sent the payment, dog. Brother, come on, brother. Give me a break, man. I sent the payment. It's supposed to be lost in the mail. You need to double check your paperwork. Donald Trump, I'm going to tell you just like the tow truck driver told me. How much money you got, man? How much you got on you right now? So let's rephrase that because that's what he told me. But then he let my truck go, but then he came back 2 weeks later and got it. I basically rented my own truck from the tow truck driver, the repo guy. The point is this, man. Donald Trump, I'm going to tell you like the tow truck driver should have told me. It's too late. There you go. I mean, it sucks, but it's the truth, man. It was too late. I ended up getting my truck back, but much later. And Trump, I'm sure you will get your dignity back at some point. Donald Trump, fake contrition, his fake scolding of his supporters. Look, I supported Bernie Sanders. And there were times Bernie Sanders chastised his supporters, like told us to calm down online, not to do this. Don't look at Hillary supporters funny. Don't say anything bad to anyone. Leave Elizabeth Warren alone. And it pissed me off, man. I mean, it really pissed me off. Elizabeth Warren was a snake. Some people made memes about her. Took a private conversation and fabricated and said he didn't care about women. He didn't like women. Couldn't think a woman could be president, even though he pushed her to run in 2016. It's crazy. But back to the point, is that Bernie Sanders had no problem. He got a lot of pressure. He told his people, hey, stop doing what you're doing. I know you love me, but this ain't helping me, Johnson. Donald Trump leaned into people saying Trump supporters were too abrasive and too crazy and too this or too that. He leaned into it. He pushed them to be even more so. He wore it as a badge of honor. And then he had Trump supporters play victims like, hey, we're not overzealous. No, we're not thriving or dying in the pool of cult of personality. It's the rest of the world. And then they became more and more. And then they turned in on themselves and became even worse people. And I know I didn't appreciate it at the time when Bernie Sanders had to call us down or call us off and slow us down and tell us to calm down, and I didn't like it. But Donald Trump did the opposite of it. And look where it led. Now I have no belief at all, guys, that Bernie supporters would have stormed the Capitol or showed up at events with AR-15s and shot protesters. I have no belief. I don't believe in it for a second. But Bernie wasn't taking any chances about anything. So, and we see what happened with that. So Donald Trump was wielding his ability, his sway over millions of supporters to ignite the few that he could ignite. Not everybody got a battery up their backsides and ran out and did crazy things, but Donald Trump used it to his benefit. Stop pretending he didn't do that. Stop pretending it was accidental. He sent his men in. He sent the troops in like a mafia boss does, with a nod and a wink. Now with a paper trail. And they did the thing. And Luca Labrazzi sleeps with the fishes or whatever. Tommy 2 times. I gotta go get the papers. I gotta go run in there. We gotta break in the Capitol. So there it is. Let's stop acting like children. Let's accept it for what it is and call it out next time. It's not that difficult. It's called ethics over views. Ethics over money. That's all it is. Not that hard to do. Just call it straight. Tell the truth. Donald Trump wasn't bad just because of what happened on Wednesday. He's been bad for a long, he's been bad ever since. He started off horrible. He started off denying that Obama was even an American citizen. He came down the escalator horrible. He's been stroking and stoking the fires of division and bigotry the whole time. The only thing I would say is that there were times I wasn't sure if he was that bad a person or if he was just using what was there already in the zeitgeist, already in our world. He was using it. But what I came to believe, and I wish many others would have came to this conclusion, is that it didn't matter if he was actually a racist or if he was just using it. Because if you come to my house and you're wearing a Klan robe, I don't care if you're a card-carrying member. You got on the robe, Johnson. Doesn't matter who you really are if you put on the clothes. So that's what Trump did, and that's how I see it. All right, guys, so we'll see what happens. We got 5 more days. How much damage can be done? We'll see. Not the saint, not the devil, not the saint. Not the fault of everything that's ever happened in the world. No. That's, I doubt that there are people that believe that. There are people that believe it, but not really believe it. They just want to get back to not having to hear about it. Like, they're like, life is hard enough than hearing about this guy every day. I want to encourage them to do more than that, than not want to hear. I want to encourage everyone to want more, to demand more of their country and of their government than to just not hear about it. Because bad things can happen without them reporting on it, Johnson. They don't have to tell you. Let me ask you something. Do they know us? When I say they, I mean the talking heads on cable news. Do they know you? I mean, they talk about the world as if it's a sport. They play political games, report on our pain, rack our brain to feed the stock exchange, but do they know us? Do they know what we care about? Nope. They're too far away. They can't see us. They can't feel us. They can't relate to us. See, when you want to know what's going on in your world, trust someone who lives in your world. Subscribe.